And good morning. It is a beautiful Monday morning. We've had a weekend, haven't we? But you know what? You've stepped into the right place. That is Sunshine's Corner, and we've got a lot to talk about today. But first of all, let me say good morning. Hopefully, you had a wonderful weekend. I always, from my heart, as you know, I want to encourage you to be a part of this conversation. And today, it is going to be a conversation. We're going to be talking about foster care. And I mean, there's something. Maybe you're not as familiar, but today you will be educated on how you can be a part and make a difference. I want to thank my guests for getting here this morning. It was a little, but it's all good, Stephanie. It's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me. I apologize for being
No
late.
problem. Things happen,
Yes, ma'am.
Things happen. It's all good. Now,
Yes.
I'm going to have to let you know, I don't know much about downtown myself, and I still get lost, okay? It's okay. It's okay.
Story of my life on a Monday morning. But it's
Monday.
all right.
That's
Yes.
right. Well, Stephanie, I tell you what, foster care, you are the national supervisor for foster care. Tell us what you do in the process of foster care.
Sure. So I work for a company called National Youth Advocate Program.
Right.
We call it NYAP. And I am the program supervisor here locally in Pensacola. The company was originated, and we have our parent company in Ohio.
Okay.
But we have lots of branches here locally in Pensacola all the way to Miami, Florida.
Really?
It's in Georgia and a couple other states. So what we do, we work in partnership with DCF, the Department of Children and Families.
Right.
And then when they have children that are removed from their homes because of unsafe or any type of traumas, any type of abuse, then they refer those children to us. And we find stable homes for those children through our partnership program.
Does that happen a lot?
There are quite a lot of children that are being removed. Unfortunately, there's a high prevalence of sexual abuse, neglect, physical abuse, and those types of things that make it unfit for children to remain in the homes with their parents.
Really?
Unfortunately, yes,
That
ma'am.
is so painful.
Yes, it is.
I was talking to a friend of mine that works with, what do you work with, Eric? I think it's foster care he does, but he has to place children.
Yes.
He was telling me that even this weekend, he had a number of kids that abruptly he had to find
Placements for. Yes.
placement for them. Oh my goodness, that
Yeah.
breaks my heart. And then
It
he was telling me
does.
that it was young babies that he had.
Yes, we have children from like a year old to teenagers up to before the age of where they're adults. So we have a wide range of children that come through the system.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And how hard is it to become a foster parent?
It's not that very difficult because once we have people that have identified that they're interested, we go through the licensing process and you become licensed under NIAP. So we do background checks, we do your home checks because we have to make sure that you have a clean record. We have to make sure that you have sufficient income to be able to maintain these children.
Right.
As well as you have the space for the additional children because we don't want to remove children from a home and then put them into another situation where they are not safe.
Oh,
so we
wow.
have to do a lot of background checks on people when they apply to become foster parents, making sure that they are stable, that they're providing a safe home, as opposed to the one where we're taking them from. You don't want to place children into a foster home that's not safe. And you're just taking them out of a
absolutely.
situation.
Just like, move me here, take me back, right?
Yes.
But has that ever happened like that before? Possibly sometimes?
Very few and far between because we do very rigorous background checks. So we make sure that their background records are clean. We make sure that they have a history, maybe parents themselves. They not necessarily have to be parents, but persons.
Single person?
We have children with single fathers. We have children with single mothers. So it doesn't matter the dynamic of the family, but we want to make sure that it's a stable environment for the children.
Does that I mean, when you're placing the kids like that, when they're being removed from their natural parents, does that cause issues sometimes that you have to get help?
Yeah, it does.
To get stable? Because I would say if my mom, why am I going somewhere else? You understand?
And depends on the age of the child. Sometimes you see a lot of trauma-related history, like, okay, they have rebellion, they have tantrums, they have fights because of that trauma of being removed from their home. This is a home that they've known.
Exactly.
It may not be a good home, it may not be the perfect home, but this is mom, this is dad, this is the home that I've known, and now you're taking me out of an environment where I've survived for the past 5, 6, 7 years and placing me with a total stranger.
Oh my God.
So of course there's some resistance, there's some rebellion sometimes. So we provide therapy services for the children, and we support the foster parents through support groups. We support them through classes and a lot of trainings. So all foster parents are adequately equipped to deal with those things.
Exactly.
We have a therapist on staff that goes into the home weekly. We have a treatment coordinator that works directly with the parents. So if they have needs, we make sure they are covered with like medical, dental, and they do get a stipend monthly to become a foster parent. But yeah, it's a lot that goes into that decision-making process.
I see. I mean, you got continuous training. People get paid? I see it says monthly.
They get monthly stipend for the children. So all their children's needs, clothing, food, shelter, everything, they get a monthly allowance for that child.
Okay, so people can go online also. And I'm reading so much right here because I mean, this is really, I talk to Eric a lot. He's my friend who works with, I can't think of this. Eric, don't get upset. I can't think of the place where you say you work. I'm hearing this, and he tells me so often about with the kids what he has to do with the children, and I hope he called in today. So
we work very closely with Families First Network of Lakeview. Okay. So we work in partnership with them because they do the case management aspect of it, and then we do the foster care side of it.
Okay. Now, so, I understand totally. Now, if you could put that on silent. Because mine have done that before, and it's funny when it goes off. It sounds funny. But everybody, we're talking with Stephanie, pronounce your last name?
Rymer.
Stephanie Rymer. And she is she's the National
Supervisor.
Youth Advocate Program. And if you have questions, if you would like to become a foster parent, I'm hearing that their need is there.
It's very much there.
It is very much so that we need this. So call today and find out some of the questions that you may have in becoming a foster parent. I believe, especially when it comes to our children, it takes a village.
It sure does.
It takes our village. And these kids, they are going through a lot of trauma by being moved from place to place anyway. And what you do, doesn't that kind of hit you?
It does, because a lot of times we get emotionally attached to the children, especially the younger babies. You see them and your heart goes out to them because it's like, this child did not ask to be in that position.
Took the words off my lips.
They didn't ask to be in that situation. They did not ask to be in that position, and you can't reach out and say, here, I'll cradle you, I'll hold you, because as employees, number one, we can't take the kids home. As much as I want to, we can't take the kids home. But you want to have that empathy for the parents as well, because what we try to do, a lot of our goals for the parents are reunification. So foster care is usually temporary unless there's a situation where the parental rights have been terminated. If the parental rights have been terminated by the courts, then we move towards adoption. But usually foster care is temporary. It can be like a long-term temporary, like 2 years, 5 years, but it's usually with the goal of reunification to the parents.
Really?
So that's where the case workers come in, and they work with the parents on goals and plans and try to get them to the level where they can have these kids back in their homes. Depends on how grievous this situation was.
Okay, I was going to say,
then you try to reunify. But if it was something like totally sexual assault or a grievous situation, we do not recommend that child going back into the home, because you can't necessarily prevent that from happening again. If it's a history of it, then you try to move the child away from that situation.
Does sexual abuse happening with children?
Yes, ma'am. Pensacola has a very unique position. There's a lot of human trafficking here in Pensacola.
What?
Yes, ma'am. Because it's that middle ground between Atlanta to the west, to the east. There's a position where people come through Pensacola, and a lot of young girls are being trafficked.
Today?
Today. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my
Human
God.
trafficking is a large deter in this area, in the Panhandle area.
Now that I had no idea.
Yes,
I have heard
ma'am.
about it, but I didn't think, don't take this, okay, this is just me, okay, I'm a Law and Order girl.
I love that too.
You like that show?
Yes, I do.
Love Law and Order. And I was watching the show episode with them when they were talking about the kids, how they had so many, they were all in back of trucks and they were just taking them everywhere. And then to say that it's a high thing here, that blows my mind.
It's prevalent here, especially because we have access to, like, way down south in Miami, so you have people that's coming through from the upper states. They pick up kids here, take them down to Miami, or they're coming up, heading up to New York. They come up, pass through, pick up the girls, and sometimes you never see them again.
Ah, make me want to cry.
Yes.
Okay. No, Stephanie, that makes me. I did not think. I just thought I was watching Law and Order. I mean, but it's that strong here.
Yes.
That is unbelievable. How can we even get a hold on that?
And that is human trafficking is a different aspect to what we do for foster care.
Of course.
We are privileged to it. However, a lot of that falls under like Lakeview Families First Network, because they do have aspects of their company that deals directly with human trafficking. And there are some organizations that work directly with children that are being trafficked. Occasionally, we've had a few of the girls come through that needed placement because they have been trafficked. But yeah.
Really? So they can't. Sometimes they do get away.
They do.
Was that me? I mean,
I don't know.
I hear that maybe that's my heart. I don't know. But it's like, oh my God, that is so amazing that it just blows my mind to see how things are happening in the world today that I'm not aware
that
of.
That we don't have access to, or we don't know that it's happening. So sometimes we see people, and not necessarily that you turn a blind eye to it, but you're not aware of it. But it is happening.
Oh my goodness. Whew.
Yes.
That is something else. But we're talking about, let's get these kids put in families.
Foster care, yes.
Let's get these kids put in foster care so we'll take some of that tension off of people trying to take young people.
Yes.
And you keep saying girls. Is it mostly girls?
The highest number usually are girls, females, yeah. But we have some young boys in our care right now also. So there's a mix. Right now we're advocating for parents who want to be foster care to teenagers, because we have a lot of referral for teens, but a lot of our homes right now have younger children, so we can't accommodate the teenagers.
When you say teens, I mean that it's a lot of, what seems to be the biggest problem?
Because teenagers come with a different dynamic of behaviors.
Okay.
So a teenager at age 15, they've already had a lot of years of trauma. They've already had a lot of years of maybe abuse, so they have built up a certain resistance, as opposed to a 5-year-old child that you can now train and you can say, hey, we're going to do it this way. A teenager already has a mindset that you're not my mother, you're not going to speak to me like that, you're not going to tell me certain things. So sometimes it can be a bit of a struggle with teenagers because they get to be more defiant, they get to be more outspoken as opposed to a younger child. So bringing a teenager into your home creates a bit more of a behavioral challenge. And then some of them run away, some of them abscond, and they're like gone for days, and then you become responsible. So
oh, the person. But I guess that even with that, because you know, even parents, you know how it is. Kids say, "I'm gonna run away." I mean, but but we you know, we've been any mother or any father know how that is. They get upset, especially at that teenage year.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is, but what I'm trying to get people to really tap into today is this: become a foster parent.
Yes.
Go through the training. Look, you're going to get continuous training. You got 24/7 support. You've got monthly reimbursements and online licensing. Talk about that.
So the licensing procedure, we have a licensing specialist at our office. She normally comes out and starts once you send in an insurance packet, you are then contacted by our licensing specialist, and she begins with the home study, where she has to do all the coordinates of, is it safe? Do you have a pool, water safety? Go through all those trainings, fire safety, all that stuff. Once that is completed, then the home study and everything else, the packet is sent to DCF for approval.
Wow.
And once they're licensed, when that process can take up to about maybe a month or two, depends on the number of cases that they have.
Right.
Once the home is licensed, then we can start placing children there.
Oh, wow.
Because we can't place children in a home that has not been vetted, that has not been licensed by our company.
Oh, wow. I understand. Yeah. Somebody has a question for us today.
Sure.
Well, I don't see my red light blinking, so I don't, well, she said I had a phone call, but I don't see it anymore. Okay. What we're going to do, I think they must have hung up. But listen, please come back to us. Now, if you had a question, call us back at 850-4, there's that number, 432-7768. You can call or text, because this is very important information that we need to share and keep it top of mind so we as a community can take care of our young ones. Stay close. We're going to be talking more with Stephanie right here today about foster care. Sunshine's Corner. Stay with us.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You can even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram, or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
We're talking about Sunshine's Corner. We're having a great conversation here with Stephanie, I tell you. But listen, I hope that, I don't know if the line is fixed yet, but we're trying to get everybody on because I'm sure there are questions coming in. But we were talking about the storm. People, a lot of things maybe, we have a little difficulties this morning because of the heavy storm that came through on yesterday. It was absolutely, it knocked a mirror off my wall and scared me.
Sure did.
I mean, it was some kind of, but Stephanie said her house was shaking. I mean, I understand.
The thunder was so loud at one point, I was like, what is happening outside?
Exactly. But let's talk about the thunder we're trying to get people to take care of these
kids.
children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's see here. I see a red line, Park 10. Let's see. And good morning.
Good morning, Sunshine. This is Dr. Eric Martin calling you from Embrace Florida Kids.
Good morning.
Now say that
Good
name
morning,
again, Eric. I
Stephanie.
said, I said Eric's gonna be so upset at me because I couldn't even think.
Yes, it is. It is Embrace Florida Kids.
Embrace, okay.
Okay, Embrace.
Yeah.
Oh, she knows
I'm
about
familiar
Embrace.
with it, yes.
Well, Eric, I see all this stuff we talked about, man. It's unbelievable.
Yes, it's all familiar to my ears. I appreciate Stephanie being able to come on the show and address these issues and concerns and the needs that we have in this area of child welfare.
No doubt about it, because he was telling me that we were talking this morning. How many kids you had to place this weekend?
But not this weekend, but last week on Thursday, I had 15 kids that needed placement or also needed respites.
Yes.
And then out of those, I had 3 brand new newborn babies, 2 on Thursday and 1 on Friday, aged 2, 3, and 5 days old.
What is respite?
Respite is
Respite is when the foster parents may need to go on vacation, or they have some kind of important reason that they may need to leave, and their children are not able to go with them for whatever reason. A lot of times it's due to the fact that they may have like sibling visitations or parent visitations, and the parents is not willing for them to maybe go out of town or something like that because they don't want to miss that time. And so the foster parent can request a respite so those children can go into another foster home for like a few days or for a week.
Unbelievable. But Stephanie, when he said that he had 15 children, how in heaven's name, how you get them? So okay, if you got 15 children, Stephanie, and they need to be placed, how am I going to find? So you go into the different other foster parents?
We only place within NIAP, within our company, but we get so many placement referrals on a weekly basis from DCF, from Northwest Florida Health, because Northwest Florida Health is like the parent company over Embrace, NIAP, FFN. So we get a lot of referrals from them. And it can be 15, 10 kids a week. And we go through our parents to see how many beds we have available, what is the right fit, what is the right match. If we don't have placement, then we send it back and we say, okay, can Embrace take this? Can another company take this?
Oh, I see.
So we work in tandem with each other. And we try to accommodate what is the best fit for these children so that they can go to a place where, number one, if they have siblings, we try to keep the siblings together. Or if it's let's say this parent already has a 3-year-old and we have a referral for a 15-year-old, we're probably not going to put a 15-year-old with a 3-year-old.
Oh, really?
Because there'll be a difference of age, there'll be a difference of behavior, and you don't want to put that parent in a position where they're spending too much time trying to manage behaviors of a 15-year-old and neglecting the 3-year-old.
Oh my God.
So you try to place children that are within that similar age group, or primary goal is to keep siblings together. So if it's a sibling set, you try to find a home that can accommodate all the siblings in the same placement.
Unbelievable. Okay, Embrace.
Well explained. She hit it on the nail. So you have foster parents that have child specific, and so that means that they may only take school age, or they may take teenagers, or they may take just babies. And so you want to place the children in the best place where the foster parents going to be successful and the children going to be successful as well.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And some foster parents, they say, I only want male children, or I only want female children, or I want them between this age group. We're not shopping for kids, so we're not giving people that whole...
You took the words. Are we that specific?
We're not trying to be like we're shopping for kids, but if they have a preference, we would try to match that child with the person and their preference. But you can't just walk in and say, I want that one, and that one. This is not a grocery store for kids.
Oh, so. My God. I mean, because I can imagine the children.
Right. And you try to place children based on their needs, based on the flexibility of the parent. Because the parents who's working overnight, you're not going to put a school-age child with that parent, because then they have to wake up at 6 to get that child to school, and they've just got off at work 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my.
So you're trying to make the best of the best fit for the parent as well as the best fit for the child.
Does it mean that sometimes you have foster parents who don't work? Or maybe they are, I have a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad?
We have stay-at-home moms and dads, or they work from home, but all of our parents right now, they work.
With today's time and with the economy, I'm sure it is. Wow. Well, thank you, Dr. Martin. Embrace.
And thank you, Sonshine, and continue to provide the important information that the community needs to be successful and enhance our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Bye-bye, Eric. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
I tell you, everybody, it is amazing what I'm finding out, because I see here it says, take the first step in changing the life of our youth in your community.
Yes.
Everybody needs to do this across the board. And I'd like to reiterate this. We're not just talking black kids.
No. No, ma'am. It's not racial divided
Not racially divided at all.
Nope.
So please don't take that stigma away.
Absolutely not. We have black parents with white kids. We have white parents with black kids. It's not a racial thing at all. We want everybody to come in on the same page, on the same attitudes, because if you start thinking I only want a specific race of children, then you're probably not a good fit for us.
Absolutely.
So no.
Absolutely.
And we provide, there are 3 levels of foster care. There's traditional foster care, which is where the children are just the regular, I don't want to say normal children. And then we are considered an enhanced level of care. So you have to meet certain criteria to be accepted into NIAP's program.
Oh, really?
Because we provide therapy, we provide additional services. Children that come in at the traditional level, they don't necessarily get the therapy, they don't necessarily get all the services that we offer. And then higher than us is therapeutic. We don't provide therapeutic, which is like a daily therapy for those children who's been through more severe traumas, but we have weekly therapy, so we're considered enhanced.
Okay.
Yeah, so we deal with a lot more of the children that have those behavioral issues that may come in with tantrums, that may come in with the history, and or parents are trained specifically for that. So that's why they go through that at the beginning. You have to go through our care training, you have to go through that, and it's usually like 7 classes that you have to take to qualify for NIAP, foster parent.
Okay, I see here NIAP also offers competitive referral bonuses.
Yes.
$500?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, when you say referral, I don't want to say referral for the kids, but when we say referrals, how?
So that referral bonus refers to, let's say that you're already a foster parent.
Okay.
And you having a great experience, you're enjoying having fostering with NIAP, and you call and say, hey, best friend, I want you to come join me. That would be considered a referral bonus. So once that person is licensed and start accepting placement, you get paid that $500 as a referral bonus, because we want people to bring in their friends. We want people to bring in their family. And that's the advantage of that. You get a bonus to say,
$500, that's a good bonus.
Thank you for referring somebody to NIAP. Hey, come on, we'll pay you $500 to bring all your friends in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, people. Please don't take that like, okay. I keep saying that because, I'll give you that bonus. But no, that shows me that there's a need.
It is.
I mean, a great need for foster parents.
Absolutely.
And I noticed you pulled that pamphlet open there. Okay, there must be some things that you got to share with us. This pamphlet is covered from side to side.
So it tells you a little bit about what we do. We are a community-based therapeutic foster care, 24-hour monitoring, supervision, intense case management, intensive, because that's what makes us qualify as an enhanced foster care and not traditional, because we provide those services.
I got you.
And we have a 24-hour helpline. If something happens in the middle of the night, you call that line, somebody is there to respond. So all foster parents are very supported. We're not out here just putting kids in homes and disappearing.
Really?
We walk through that entire process with you. We create a partnership plan with our families, and we allow them to say, hey, we're in this with you every step of the way, because it's a transition. It's a transition for those children. It's a transition for the families. You're bringing another dynamic into your home.
But of course.
That changes the way you do things. You may be, let's say an older person, maybe 40, 50 years old, that has already had their children leave the home.
Right.
And now you're starting
all over again from the
with
beginning.
a 5-year-old and that you have to wake up and take to school, that you have to worry about after school care. So there are a lot of dynamics that our treatment coordinator works directly with those families to provide, hey, can we get you resources for school? Can we find you a dentist? Can we find you a doctor? Because you have to maintain this child like your biological child. There are appointments, there are things that needs to happen. And our therapy, we come to the home. So we're not asking you to come to the office to bring that child for another appointment. We come to you.
Really?
And we provide that service to you.
What's the limit a foster parent can have on the number of kids?
It depends on the number of beds, because children cannot sleep together. So we have, if you have an extra bedroom with bunk beds that can accommodate 2 or 3 children, then we license you for 3 children. If we need to increase that capacity of how many children you can have in your home, then we go through the process to do that. But necessarily, the most we have right now are families with 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, because I can see, because, if you got 8 children in there, oh my God.
It's a lot. And we don't want to overwhelm parents either.
I agree.
You don't want to overwhelm parents and give them 5 kids at a time, and then they're like, okay, no. So we usually try to, if it's a sibling set, then we would try to keep them together, but not necessarily like 8 or anything like that. If it's temporary, that's where respite sometimes comes in. And if you already have 2 and then somebody needs a respite for a weekend or a couple of days or something like that, we can add 2 more, so you'll have 4, but then those other 2 will be leaving after a couple of days.
How do they adapt to that when they others are placed in a place they're not familiar with, just for a couple of days?
And again, we look at the dynamics of the family. We look at the ages of the children, because, and sometimes some of these children come in with a CPA, which is a child protection agreement. They can't share a room, they can't share a bed, they can't be in certain situations based on their trauma history. they may not be able to share a room with another female or a room with another male if there has been like any type of sexual exposure or anything like that. So we have to review all those referrals that come to us carefully.
I just think that breaks my heart when I hear of sexual abuse on a child.
It's a real thing.
I mean, that just...
Yeah, it's a real thing.
I mean, that... What? Why? I mean, oh, God.
That
just breaks my heart.
Yes, and there are some pedophiles out there that do these things and think it's okay.
You're so good with your words that I would have used pedophiles.
I'm like, okay. But yeah, it's happening.
My goodness. Oh, wow. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're seeking this so we can get the word out because we need help.
Yes, we are too.
We really need your help. If you would like to consider becoming a foster parent, you can get in touch with Stephanie. I mean, Embrace. I'm just kidding. I mean,
either one. We all work under the same umbrella.
Work together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Now, Eric, I'll never forget it. I'm going to embrace the name of your business again and again and again. But Stephanie, I see it's so mind-blowing, the things that you've shared with me today, the little things that I was not so aware of. You can be walking down the street and never know who you're walking next to.
Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, absolutely amazing. So please, take this number, 850-432-7768. You can dial, you can call or text. If you've got questions for Stephanie about how you can become, when you can talk to her about becoming a foster parent, this is how you do it. We'll be right back with more information with Stephanie here in just a little bit on Sunshine's Corner. Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your menwear needs.
This is Wayne at Icon Automotive in Robertsdale, Alabama, and I wanted to tell you more about our powertrain warranty forever. It comes with any vehicle we sell that has 80,000 miles or less at no additional cost to you. We put our vehicles through a tough safety and mechanical inspection before it can have the powertrain warranty forever, giving you a peace of mind with your purchase. This warranty is good anywhere in the country, and it covers 100% of parts and labor with no mileage limit, and is covered as long as you own the vehicle. Come pick out your dealership car at non-dealership pricing with a powertrain warranty forever at Icon Automotive.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m., hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
Go back to being a kid again. Head on over to Bubba's Sweet Spot. We've got house-made caramels, fudge, pralines, marshmallows, and lots and lots and lots and lots of chocolate. Looking for more traditional candy? We've got you. Our walls are covered head to toe in all the classics, from taffy to gummies and lollipops to gumballs. And don't forget our ice cream. With endless toppings and dipped cones, we've got what you're craving. Let us take you back to a time when every problem could be solved with candy. At Bubba's Sweet Spot.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. We're talking about Sunshine's Corner, and you know this because we're going to keep you up on what you need to know, how you need to know, where you can get the help. And listen, I'm sitting here talking with Stephanie, and I'm just loving the information that she's sharing with us today. Jen was talking to me too. I'll be talking to somebody in my ear as well. But that process again, let's go through that again about becoming a foster parent.
Okay. So once people are interested, they can reach us on Facebook. They can reach us. We have the app, and you can scan that. I'll leave that with you. You can scan that, the QR code, and it'll take you directly to NIAP's website. You can then fill out a JOT form, and all that information comes back to, if you're doing it for Pensacola, if you're doing it for Miami, it goes to whatever location you enter as where you are located. Once we receive it here in Pensacola, then we're going to reach out to you and say, hey, thank you for your application. Here's the next step.
Okay.
We get you involved in an information session, because we do those at least once a week, just to get people informed of what they're about to get into. So you join the info session. If you're interested in moving forward, then we get you registered for the classes, because there's a pre-service and then we do care. So you have to go through and enroll in all the education requirements before licensing. And while you're doing those classes, then the licensing specialist is going to also come out and start doing the assessment of your home, because we need to know that you have adequate space to house these children. We need to know the dynamics of who's in your home, who's coming and going out of your home. We're not trying to mind your business, but we want to make sure that these children are safe within the environment that we're placing them. So,
do you ever run into the fact that some people try to get into foster care for the money?
yes. Yep.
Really?
We call them commercial parents, where they're just interested in it for the money, but eventually we weed those people out, because you realize, and you realize that their investment is not in the children, and it's just, hey, where's my check? Where's my check? Where's my check?
Really?
And it's not about that. We're not trying to commercialize children at all.
You've had that happen? Where's my check?
I've heard about it, yes, ma'am.
My goodness. Unbelievable.
Yep.
It's not about the money.
It is not. And if
it's all about the safety of the kids.
If you don't have a heart and a passion for things like this, then it becomes skewed in terms of why you're doing this. And your commitment has to be for the homes. It has to be for the children.
You're right, because these kids have gone through enough.
Enough, exactly. And the one thing we do not want to do is to re-traumatize a child.
Absolutely.
It's hard enough for them to have to go through that process of being removed from their biological family, placed with a stranger, and then that stranger turns around and does something or acts indifferent towards that child. You're re-traumatizing that child, so you're doing more harm than good to that child by not providing a safe environment.
Absolutely.
So the parents that apply, some of them we turn down, some of them we're like, okay, you're probably not a good fit for NIAP. We can refer them to maybe a traditional foster program, or just say, okay, maybe you should think about this a little bit more, and we can discuss this further. But we want our parents to be prepared. We want them to be fit for what they're getting into.
Have you ever, a person, they really think they're ready for it, then they get the kids and they realize, I can't do this.
I can't do this, yeah.
That happens?
Yes. But we have support groups.
Okay.
Because we started a support group among the foster parents. So if you're having a moment like, okay, I'm about to have a breakdown because this child is fighting with me, this child is having tantrums every day, you call another foster parent and say, how did you deal with this? And the initial onset of becoming a new foster parent is hard.
Of course.
It's similar to just having a new baby. You don't know everything, and it's a learning process. You have to learn that child, you have to learn what they like, they have to learn you.
Right.
A lot of them come in with resistance, and they're like, you're not my mother, you're not my father, you can't tell me when to go to bed, you can't tell me when to do this. So there's that dynamic of a challenge. But if you give up on them within the first 2 weeks, they're going to learn that, oh, okay, so I can be rude and I can displace and I can disrupt.
Right.
And then they end up bouncing from home to home, because once they figure nobody actually really loves me, I can disrupt a family and I get placed someplace else. And we have children that do that because they've been through so much trauma in the past. They realize, hey, this is not my forever home, so if I'm not getting what I want, I act out, I get removed. I act out, I get placed in a new home.
Unbelievable. I mean, but I can imagine, because of the fact that when a child, I'm trying to fathom that thought process of a child being moved from here to there from my mom.
Yes.
From my father. That's got to be something difficult right there.
Very traumatic.
I mean, very, very.
Very traumatic.
I mean, why am I here? My mom didn't want me?
So they go through a lot of psychological challenges as well, especially that age of accountability from 8 to maybe teenagers. So you would see more of those behaviors from that age group.
Of course.
Because they're aware of what's happening. The younger children are probably more easier to adjust and say, hey, I have a new mommy, hey, I have a new daddy. But those that are aware, it's like, okay, what happened? And my mom doesn't want me. And they could be being physically abused, but it's the love that they know. and you're now taking them out of that environment to place them with a stranger where it's like, oh, okay, so did you not want me? So they have a lot of psychological losses to deal with as well. That's why we provide therapy, because it's easy to have them talk through some of that trauma.
Absolutely.
And to work with them to recognize this is not you. This is an adult that did this to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's why I always, and I do this not often, to get help. I mean, get help.
Yep.
Mental health
is very important.
Very
important.
important. Get that. And let's get out of the stigma.
Yes.
That when you go get something for mental health that you think you're crazy. No.
No. It's trying to get you better to the right place where you can function, where you can be the best you that you need to be.
Absolutely.
A lot of people look at therapy as a negative thing. We all need therapy. Whether it's talking to a friend or talking to God or talking to somebody, we all need therapy. Professionally, it's just about recognizing I have some capacities that I need to build up, or I have something within me that I need to get off the table so that I can be a better person.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so much I'm learning. I mean, no, because I know it all connects because we need to do that. What's the difference in what you do and just a regular
traditional home?
Yeah, traditional home, yes.
So the difference is services. In traditional homes, majority of the children that go through traditional foster care, they are at a lower level of care. So they don't necessarily have that attached trauma. They don't necessarily need the therapy services. So with us, we provide that weekly because we have already vetted our kids and we recognize, hey, they've had a history of sexual exposure, they've had a history of substance abuse, they've had a history, whatever their history that they're coming in with, we can recognize that and provide the services to be able to assist that child with navigating their life to become a better child, to become a better adult.
Absolutely.
So traditional children are primarily those that are just needing a placement because of a temporary circumstance that happened. Not necessarily those that need enhanced level of care due to trauma. So we deal with more of that traumatic piece.
Okay. Do you ever run into a situation where as a person, some of the kids maybe have been in a foster care and the parents then come back and try to get them?
Legally they can't, because it goes through the court. It's a process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're not just accepting kids because the parents is having a moment. It goes through that shelter agreement, it goes through the court, it goes through an entire DCF investigation and process and things like that. So by the time it gets to us, those children have already been legally placed within the custody of the state.
How long does the process usually take for a child?
It depends on the level of care that's needed or the level of the situation that's happening. If something, I've seen immediate shelters happen overnight.
Oh, really?
That the judge can go to court on a Saturday morning and say, hey, we gotta move these kids and we're taking them now.
On a Saturday morning?
On a Saturday morning, yes. But legally, DCF is the only entity that can remove children. So once DCF removes the children, then FFN steps in as the case managers, and they then refer the children out to either Embrace, to NIAP, to One More Child, because there are a couple of entities that does the foster care for placement. So it's a whole series of events that happen to get to this level.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but the DCF investigators are the front line. If somebody calls in and say, hey, my neighbor is beating their child or something along that line, they would go out and investigate if it's merited, if it's true, if it is, and if it's an immediate situation happening, they're gonna remove that child out of the home immediately. And then they go and they call the courts, they file the paperwork, the judge says, okay, you have 24 hours, I give you the shelter order, that child is not going back home.
Really? Okay, do you run into the cases where you have some old school teachers, some old school families say, hey, look, go get me a switch?
Yep.
Okay, go get your own switch and bring it back to me.
But kids in foster care, you're not allowed to use restraints, you're not allowed to use holds, and you're definitely not allowed to physically touch or hit that child. Yeah, no ma'am.
Really?
Because you would lose your license over that really quickly.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yep.
So therefore it's...
So that's why we have support.
No, Stephanie, no, you laugh because you see my face.
I know, you're like, right? And that's why we have a 24-hour hotline. If your child is having a tantrum, if your child is misbehaving, or if your child has escalated to that point where you feel you need to hold or put hands on that child, you call that hotline, we're going to get somebody out there to you. Because legally, you cannot do that.
Did you say hold them?
We can't hold, we can't do restraints. If your foster child is, let's say you have a 15-year-old in your home, and they're bowing up to you like, I'm about to punch you out, you let that child walk out the door and you call and say, hey, this child just left my home. I need the police, I need somebody to come, because you can't run in the street and grab that child, get your behind back in the house, and no, you can't, no. If the child is in a place of danger or they're walking into an unsafe situation, then you go after them and say, okay, I need you to come back inside. But you can't physically drag them back into the house.
I can say, get your.
You can say it, but you can't put your hands you can't put your hands on them.
She's laughing because I know she sees my eyes because
yes,
you know.
ma'am.
But it's all good. But listen up, everybody. That's the way you find out. You ask questions. Stay with us. We got more questions for Stephanie. If you've got questions, please call us up at 850-432-7768 right here at Sunshine's Corner.
Yes, ma'am.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quint Studer, and I am Blab TV.
Hey fellas, my name is Daniel Denny, owner of the Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering from ED and the bedroom has become your worst nightmare, where you no longer have the self-confidence you used to have, it doesn't have to be that way. We can help. You're not alone. We have over a 90+% success ratio with our patients. I'm so confident you'll be pleased with the results that if we can help you, there's no charge for the office visit. I'll personally cover it.
Hello, my name is Eric, and this was my first visit to Little John's. The selection, the pricing here, and the customer service were outstanding. I would definitely recommend. The staff was very friendly, and they'll get you what you need.
Hi, this is John with Little John's Big and Tall here in Pensacola, Florida at 5700 North Davis Highway. Check us out at littlejohnsbigandtall.com, where we can take care of you with extra large up to 14X and large tall to 6X tall.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. That's, you see, Stephanie and I are really connecting.
Yes,
we are. But Stephanie, I mean, I've learned a lot, and what I really want to convey, number one, we need people to become foster parents.
Yes, we do.
We need lots of people to become foster parents. Let's help our children in more than one way. Reach out. If you have even an inkling of an idea, find out what's the process so that you can be that extra help for the children that we have here. And we were talking about discipline. And I'm old school. I mean, but with the discipline, we were go ahead, let's share what we were talking about as far as discipline is concerned.
So as far as discipline is concerned, I think the definitions has to be where people set their boundaries in the first place.
Right.
There's a huge difference between discipline and abuse. If you are going to discipline a child, it's a form of telling them, hey, this is what you did wrong, this is how we're going to handle that. As opposed to coming at a child in anger and striking that child or punishing that child based on, and the child sometimes doesn't even know what they did, you're just whap. You know? So it's like, Okay, so what did I do? You're not explaining it. You're not saying, how can we correct this? How can we fix this in the future?
Right.
But within the foster care system, the foster parents are not allowed to physically abuse or discipline their children. You can set boundaries, you can set rules, because we don't tell them how to parent. We just expect that we're not creating a scenario where this child was abused in their biological home. We don't expect them to be abused in their foster home.
Yeah.
But you can set boundaries with children. If you have younger children, you know how to say to them, 8 o'clock is bedtime, you put away your toys, you put away your electronics, you follow the rules of my home. This is my home.
Exactly.
You're coming into my home.
Exactly.
And you set those boundaries. If they cross those boundaries, then there are consequences. However, it's not physical consequences.
I hear you.
Because you cannot put your hands on the children, you cannot hit them, you cannot cause any harm to those children. If a situation occurs where, let's say the child falls and they bust their lip or they have an incident like that, it has to be reported to us immediately, because we have to document any incidents of injury that occurs in your home.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Just by slipping and falling?
Just by slipping and falling, because if that child shows up at school with a busted lip and the school calls it in,
I hear you.
They're going to call back and say, hey, Stephanie, did you know this child showed up with a busted lip and the parent didn't tell me anything? So I'm now having to backtrack and call that parent and say, hey, what happened? Because the school can report. They are mandatory reporters.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're, okay.
So if your child shows up to school with a black eye and I don't know about it because they're coming out of a foster home and you didn't tell us what happened, I can't defend you as a foster parent.
He walked into the door last night.
Okay, but then you should have called me and told me that, because when the school sees that, they're going to be like, okay, hey, we have a kid with a black eye, let's call DCF.
Right.
If a report is called in against you, you're going to lose your child in your home.
How many chances do you get?
Depends on the seriousness of the
yeah. Okay.
If it's something that you can an explained injury is different to an unexplained injury.
Right.
If you can have, if your story is consistent with what the child is saying, then we can believe and say, okay, this child probably was sleepwalking and walked into the door, but we know that. But if the child is saying to us, hey, my stepmom or my foster mom knocked me upside the head because I broke her TV, that's very different.
Do you have some kids try to do that on purpose when nothing has really happened?
We've had children, again, based on their trauma history, that they've made up stuff.
Really?
We try to give the children the benefit of the doubt because of the trauma that they've been through.
Of course.
And if a child is saying something to you, it's up to us to investigate it before you take sides.
Oh, wow.
Because you never know when the actual truth is going to come out.
I got you.
Some children, they learn to suppress things because they've been through so many things, so it doesn't come out until years later. If they are comfortable with someone and they say, oh, well, this happened to me 2 years ago, then it becomes a new investigation because you have to now go back and see, hey, what really happened? But we also have children that have learned the system because they've been in foster care. They've
know
been
what to say and what to do
so long. If they don't like what's happening in your house, let's say the rules are that you can't leave the house after 10 p.m. and they want to go out, that's like the older teenagers, they know how to create a scenario
so that
to get them out the house. Yes.
Unbelievable. What do you ever have? I know you do a thorough background.
Yes.
Is there any cases where you have sexual predators trying to get kids?
We have not run across that, but usually once we run the backgrounds,
that will come out.
Yes.
Because they have to be.
They have to be registered as registered sex offenders. However, if it's something that those, let's say they were under the radar for a while and they may have molested a child and it did not become public, it's not going to be on your background.
But of course.
So we won't know that.
Exactly.
But if a child comes out and says, hey, this happened to me, or this person did something or touched me inappropriately, we then have to do due diligence with the investigation.
Unbelievable. But you know, Stephanie, I'll tell you, this is, with the things that's happening in the world today, it is so behooving to see how these, for the kids.
Yes.
I can imagine. Because, I mean, even with me, at this point in my life, I think that even sometimes I think about my parents. You understand what I'm saying? And I can imagine how that they're feeling at a young age, going through what they are.
Yeah.
But you see, you've got that love that you can share. You know, love is a beautiful thing. And when a child can feel that they're loved,
exactly,
they know this. So what am I saying this for? Why don't you become a foster parent? Why don't you seek out the information? And Stephanie's so easy to talk to. I mean,
we just hit it off immediately.
We hit it off immediately. Immediately. And it's just that way because I feel the sincerity in what you do.
Yes.
And trying to get these kids taken care of. And I know Eric, who my friend, Dr. Martin, right? I know what he's saying because when we were talking about, cause he tells me I'm rough on the child. He told me with my kids, okay?
Yeah.
But Eric, they're okay. But you see, but you can be taught something different.
Yes.
The times have changed.
And people have different parenting styles. Some people are strict, some people are relaxed. So
That's
you
right.
have different parenting styles. It's just understanding the child you're dealing with.
Exactly, because they got many personalities.
And the generation of children now
are not like it was.
They are focused on electronics. They are focused on so many different things. And that, again, is another avenue where predators use for children.
Exactly.
They are playing on the games and they're coming in and pretending to be a child when it's an adult trying to lure them away into something else. So you have to be very careful with your kids and monitoring the things that they're doing, monitoring the things that they're looking at. As a foster parent, you have to love this child enough as your biological parent.
Stephanie, we got to get out of here. Can you believe our hour has passed up? Now they want to get
just a conversation.
That's what it is. I want you to feel that. I think that's why we connected so well.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just a conversation. But listen up. If they want to get in touch with you, how can they?
We are located at 2525 North Palafox, Suite B. We're usually in the office. I'm usually there. Or my telephone number, 850-823-9072.
And if you would like to get in touch with Stephanie, I'll make sure I'll get you there. Well, I've got to go, guys. Remember this in my part and never lose your focus. Always remember to keep God first, and I guarantee you, you'll be a total success. So until tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, know that I love you with the perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me. Yay.